3 months later, now the pre-arbitration MasterCard fines come down because this merchant, I don't know if it's because they do gas, was opted into a pre-arbitration regime, which I'm sure they weren't told about, which basically puts them into arbitration for any transaction dispute. And we know that these are all fraud, and they're still being nailed for all the ones after they notified them. $30,000, $40,000. And to make it worse, the guy who contacted us for the merchant, they withheld his residuals to satisfy the merchant losses, which isn't authorized under the contract.
Wow.
This shit happens all the time.
Welcome to the Payments Experts Podcast, a podcast of Global Legal Law Firm. We hope you enjoy this episode.
Be mindful of what you're writing down. I get into a lot of cases where I'm going, why the fuck did you write that down in an email? Like, anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. And, even myself, sometimes like, whoa, think about if a judge is going to see that. What's he going to say? And a lot of times they don't. But, when you're writing something and you're writing this, that, or the other thing. I mean, it even comes down. I spent this morning listening to a bunch of recorded calls because they're all in Texas. Be careful what you throw out there. This case was they're promising every new sales agent a 40x multiple on their residuals.
Lump sum payment.
Guaranteed. It is guaranteed you'll make this. Everybody, make sure you're sitting down. If you have a $10,000 residual, you will get $400,000.
Applause, please.
And they were. It was like that. And I'm
not hearing enough hype.
And that is actually happening. And we're going to sue the shit out of them over it.
Wolf of Wall Street type stuff, it sounds like.
Well, first off, dude, you got to cut the founding partner thing when I'm with James because it bugs the shit out of him.
I don't care at all.
Dude, he talks about it incessantly in our office.
Yeah, well, James was your first law clerk. Isn't that correct? Is that accurate?
I don't know if he was the first, and he wasn't really my law clerk, except until after a little while, he looked over at who he was law clerking for, and then me, and he went, I think that guy's doing something right over there.
No. It wasn't Chris. It was the clients. He was working with the ISOs. And I was going, holy shit, there is a lot.
Had nothing to do with me.
Nothing to do with Chris. There was a lot of ISOs out there and not enough attorneys. And that's still the case.
It's still the case, yeah.
We're educating people. We see things up, and Jeremy gave us an outline. He wants to talk about dual surcharging and dual pricing.
Blah, blah. Yeah, I want to go off what I was going to say before I was founding partner. You guys are filibustering. So, I think that what I see as every litigation case primarily is just poorly drafted contracts. More and more and more and more. Like, any place where there's ambiguity in a contract, it's like that's what all of our litigation is. And it's funny because nobody really goes through their agreements. Like Leo and I talked about it on the other podcasts. They'll send it, oh, it looks good to me. We have to go, dude, don't ever sign this, it's kind of crazy, but that's where I see most of the litigation, and most of the good opposing counsel are the ones that are actually in the agreement looking at it to see what it says and what it doesn't say in the four corners of it to use it against our clients or, in defense of their client.
If you had to say it, Chris, how many of the litigations maybe that we're currently involved in could have been avoided had the contract been reviewed previously?
Some of them yes, some of them no. I mean, you can't really, what James was talking about is like a full-on bait and switch, right? Like, here, I'm going to do this for you, and then, ultimately what the buyout agreement says is, yeah, I'm giving you 40X, but I'm going to give you 15X now. Then you do another 30 deals for me, I'll give you more. Then you do another 30 after that, and I'll give you some more. Except when you get to 30, it's like, oh yeah, you did 30, but then 5 aren't here anymore. So now I need another 7. It's just, kind of playing games.
Yeah. The goalpost keeps moving.
Yeah. I mean, I'll see, one of the problems is you'll see super tight agreements that are totally enforceable, but the other sides are just assholes. And so the Warren Buffett quote is, you can't make a good deal with bad people. you're going to get screwed.
Yeah.
They like litigation. They get off on it. And
yeah, some people
they
really
win.
enjoy it. Some people really enjoy it. Like they use it as sport almost.
Yeah,
like
it's something new and shiny. You get bored of clocking deals all day. All right, I'm going to go sue this person because I've got more money than them.
Yeah.
And it works. It's really effective if you want to be a professional litigant and screw people over. Now, it catches up with them eventually, but it might not be you.
Maybe not. Maybe
not.
I don't know. I mean, it's interesting because people use the court systems all the time, and literally sometimes it's just a game of attrition, right? I mean, or, if I've got a ongoing dispute with one person on many fronts, it's literally like a war. I'm going to use this battle to influence this battle, right? I mean, like, it's just interesting how they'll like ramp it up on one side to try to weaponize something over here that's really unrelated, but then they try to like pull it in. So I see that all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting to me that people want to litigate as heavy as they do. Like or they don't want to just let it go.
Just let it go.
I mean, we've got ongoing litigation that's been going on for 5 years between two people, and it's like even after a settlement, now there's a set aside to the settlement to further litigate because people just don't know how to give it up. And I don't know if that's just societally or what it is, but I mean, fuck, like some people just don't know how to like step away from the fight. So we had this happen recently. We have like a department that handles residual disputes and match disputes because they kind of run hand in hand. We just got a view of a BRAM violation, which is like a brand reputation MasterCard violation that was being forced on one of our clients. The bank showed us this on a conference call, and it turned out that the actual violation coming down from MasterCard was the failure to properly underwrite and manage the merchant. Not that the merchant had done anything necessarily wrong. It was somebody else's decision making, but shit rolls downhill, and so they were going to just keep pushing it down to the merchant. And then they always stand by this, it's confidential information, we can't show it to you. There's inherent in every contractual relationship is the duty of good faith. That doesn't happen a lot with these contracts. So you try to like negotiate, but they're private companies. They're not government actors. So I don't have like a freedom of information request I can file. So the only thing that I can do is file a lawsuit to engage in discovery where they'll be compelled to provide us the information, even if it's under a protective order, so that we can actually defend our clients or figure out how to help the client, move forward. It's requiring litigation. Now, I will say this. The litigation, we just started doing this in the last 6 to 12 months. It's highly effective in getting movement. And where we were doing letter campaign and trying to be civil and cordial, but advocate, and it was not effective, this has been effective.
Yeah, I think it's increased our removal percentages by at least 10 points.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah.
At least. And now we're starting to see that some of these reasons for match or fines that are intended to dwindle away residual or with reserves.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, now we're starting to see like how the whole game is being played. But at the end of the day, merchants get fucked. It's just that simple. They're the ones that are eating the bulk of what's happening. And now it's starting to look like all these like monetary fine regimes that are at the card brand level, they're all intended to be just profit centers. I'll give you one that happened yesterday. Get a call from an agent. Agent is Indian. Represents he's more of a tech guy. Represents a whole bunch of Indian businesses. One of the services he provides is merchant services. Has really strong relationships. They're all cultural. A lot of his merchants, gas station owners, Indian. So they got a run of chargebacks in February to the tune of like $8,000. When you're paying at the pump, that's a tough one. So somebody had a fraudulent credit card number that they were using and maybe selling to other people because when they went back to the video, They saw that it was multiple cars, and so they could see everything. There was
I wonder
security.
if they're just targeting that one gas station too.
I don't know. That's the crazy part, right? So they've got this fake card. The chargebacks come down, and I'll even say it's Fiserv that is the back end processor. Ultimately, they file a police report. They say, we'll eat the chargebacks. It's on us. Okay? They don't even contest them, right? They'll just says, yeah, we'll satisfy these. But will you do us this favor? We have the card number. It's the same card number. Can you block this card number from being used so that we'll prevent any future fraud? We can't help you. That was the message. We cannot help you.
But they can.
But they can. We cannot help you. Now, that wasn't Fiserv saying that, but it was Fiserv's agent saying that. And it's a pretty close agent. So ultimately, there's more chargebacks that come, right? Now, interestingly enough, they've somehow figured out a solution to it, or it stopped. 2 months later, 3 months later, now the pre-arbitration MasterCard fines come down because this merchant, I don't know if it's because they do gas, was opted into a pre-arbitration regime, which I'm sure they weren't told about, which basically puts them into arbitration for any transaction dispute. And we know that these are all fraud, and they're still being nailed for all the ones after they notified them. $30,000, $40,000. And to make it worse, the guy who contacted us for the merchant, they withheld his residuals to satisfy the merchant losses, which isn't authorized under the contract.
Wow.
This shit happens all the time, right? It's happening at the highest levels, at the lowest levels.
This should be the podcast episode right here. I mean, that's crazy.
Look, dude, this stuff comes through to us all the time. And unfortunately, the message that we give everyone is, you have to file a lawsuit, and this may cost more than it's worth.
And it usually does. I mean, that's the one thing with the match litigation is early on, people are hesitant. They're going, I don't want to spend the money. What are your chances of success? And I got to say, hey, look, I'm aware of the two only match cases that made it to almost arbitration. None of them ever gone to trial. They all settled on the steps. One of them was ours. One of them was, I don't know if Theo Monroe did it. He was the one who told me about it. And it settled on the steps because they just don't want to admit they're wrong. But with match, if you're on the match list, you can get processing. You can call Jeremy and he'll give you a list of 3-4 people.
It's not a bar to processing. It's but you're it's an advisement.
It's not, but it is.
Yeah,
right?
It's going to limit your options, and you're going to be more expensive because you've got the scarlet letter on you. But suing for it, like, we're cranking these things out. You're not spending that much money to sue to get off the match list. And I would love to take one of these to trial. I remember first we were saying due process, and that wasn't really going to fly because it's not a state actor. But I'll make that argument all day, and it just takes the right judge. And then what was the other one? It was freedom of speech. And then we were doing fair credit reporting, because you're reporting my credit and it's not true, and I've been denied a credit application, which is your merchant processing. For some reason, that didn't fly either, and we were just asking. We ran that one time hard, and that one fell off for some reason. I can't remember why that didn't apply, but it still seems like that would work. Maybe it just settled.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Payments Experts Podcast, a podcast of Global Legal Law Firm. Visit us online today at globallegallawfirm.com. Matters discussed are all opinions and do not constitute legal advice. All events or likeness to real people and events is a coincidence.